Hey Book Dragons, welcome back to my channel. Today I've got a book review for you. Let's go. Thank you to my patrons. I really appreciate all you do to support the channel. So not long ago, I finished reading The Secret Adversary by Agatha Christie. This is the first of 5 books featuring the dynamic duo of Tommy and Tuppence Beresford. I was so excited to get back into this series. I think the last time I read the Tommy and Tuppence mysteries, I was a teen, or maybe a little younger than 13. I might have been like 12 or something like that. I used to borrow Agatha Christie books from my grandmother's library. You probably heard me tell this tale a million times, but I never get tired of telling it. So I love the nostalgia thinking back on how my grandmother was so influential on my reading habits. So yeah, she was a huge fan of Agatha Christie, as am I, and it's been years since I've read any Tommy and Tuppence. So this was the time. I did a buddy read with my good friend Mona Lisa Reads, and she is still working on it, I believe, but we will probably have a live discussion on the book, more of a spoiler-filled discussion, so look for that in the near future. But until then, I thought I'd give you a spoiler-free review and see if this is something you are interested in reading. The Secret Adversary is the very first novel, as I mentioned, in the adventures of Tommy and Tuppence Beresford, who at the time were not married, at least as far as this first book goes, and they got together after many years of having not seen each other. They've been friends, off and on, acquaintances throughout the years, and they end up meeting up together. Neither one of them has found a healthy source of income, and so they decide to start up this joint venture called the Young Adventurers, and they have determined to take on cases and try to help solve mysteries and get paid for it. So essentially it all boils down to money. But they start to realize that they've kind of gotten in a little over their heads. The chemistry between Tommy and Tuppence is just fantastic. They have so much really good witty banter. And it easily they easily play off of each other with their banter. The wit and panache that they bring to this story is just amazing. I love them just as much, if not more, as I did when I read them the first time as a teen. This book has the classic Agatha Christie format that keeps you guessing all the way along. There were times that I thought I knew who done it, and then that idea got flipped on its head, and then it would get flipped back, and then maybe it would get flipped to some other person. And she's well known for doing that and stringing you along so that you really don't know who the culprit is until almost the very end of the book. And then it's just kind of like a bomb drop, right? It was that way when I read Death on the Nile and Murder on the Orient Express. It's that way in this book as well. She had a real knack for keeping her readers engaged. This is a short book. It's just over 200 pages. Well, I think 240 pages, right around there. Very, very quick read, and it's an easy read as well. I think anybody would really love this book. So I'm going to talk about some of the core aspects of the book, kind of the general plot, and we'll talk about the characters as well, at least some of the key characters that pop up in the book. And then we'll kind of tie it all together at the end with a nice little bow. I don't have any bows here, I'm sorry, but you'll just have to imagine one in your head. So shortly after Tommy and Tuppence form the Young Adventurers, they decide that the best course of action for them is going to be to take out an advertisement in the paper. And as they are about to go that direction, they kind of stumble into a case. This case involves some important documents that could turn the tide, or should I say, could reverse the victory between the Axis and the Allied powers during the war. This was carried by a courier who got on board a vessel with a young girl, a girl who was young at the time, named Jane Finn. And he was afraid somebody was going to capture him and kill him. So he delivered the document to her thinking, oh, nobody's going to hurt a young girl. And so now many years have passed, and Tommy happens to overhear these two men talking about a woman named Jane Finn. He uses that to kind of send out messages waving the name of Jane Finn all about in the message, hoping that this will turn into a case for them and that somebody will contact them with further information. And they do. They get a couple of phone calls. One happens to be from a wealthy aristocrat from the United States. This takes place in Great Britain, by the way. This takes place in England. So this guy is a wealthy aristocrat from the United States, and he happens to be a relative of Jane Finn's, and he's trying to find out what happened to her. And so everything kind of takes off from there. When they finally get to the point where they realize they've bitten off more than they can chew, it's kind of too late to bow out at this point. There is a mysterious figure who not many people have actually seen face to face, known as Mr. Brown, and he is the mastermind behind the plot to release these papers that will reverse the decision of the war. So all of a sudden, it's no longer just about finding Jane Finn. It's about protecting the nation of Great Britain and the US and everything like that. So it just becomes really convoluted really fast. It's convoluted in such a way that you can make sense of it, though, if that makes any sense. It probably doesn't. But Agatha Christie does wrap everything up together at the very end. You just see what a genius she is at creating these plots. So, of course, you have our main characters, Tommy and Tuppence Beresford, and you have the wealthy aristocrat, his name is Jules Hersheimer, and you have another figure who's involved with the government named Mr. Carter, and then, of course, you have the mysterious Mr. Brown. Those are the key players in this plot. And there are a few other minor characters that we happen across during the course of the story, but all you really need to know is those main characters to kind of get a feel for who you're going to focus most on during the book. It's a really fantastic ride, guys. I highly recommend this book. If you like mysteries and you like suspense, this book is full of it. It's such a great mystery tale. Not everybody's into mysteries. I get that. I've talked with quite a few people who say that, Chaz, I'm glad you like Agatha Christie, but maybe she never really clicked with me, or I just don't really get into mysteries. And that's totally okay. But if you like mysteries, I highly recommend it. If you are looking for a good place to start with Agatha Christie, she's got several different detectives that she's written, like Hercule Poirot, Jane Marple, and Tommy and Tuppence Beresford. I think Tommy and Tuppence are a great place to start with Agatha Christie. I really do. All of her detectives are smashing, but I have a special place in my heart for Tommy and Tuppence Beresford. So that's it, guys. I'm not going to say too much more. It's such a short book. If I were to say any more, I would spoil it for you, and I don't want to do that. So let me know in the comments, have you read this book? And if you have, what did you think of it? If you've heard of it, but you've never really known whether or not it was for you, what do you think now? Talk to me in the comments. Let's have a dialogue together about it. And guys, make sure you are reading more books. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon.